welcome back.
For sure.
This is the second time you're on IGSTS, Jafar, a popular demand, and you come to us. Why did you come to us today?
Man, to build on some Qebhetic love, man, some Qebhetic science.
Yes, sir.
You know?
And I know you got something to say.
Absolutely.
We're the voice of the voiceless, so I'm going to let you take it. What do you got to bring to us today, Jafar?
All right, so what I'm going to do today, man, I want to build on some Qebhetic science, but I also want to build on some modern science, just to show how modern science is catching up to ancient science. Although the languages and the symbols are different, underlying that is the same truth. Whereas in our cultural documentation, everything came from a spiritual realm. In modern science parlance, life emerged from the 0 point field. But the 0 point field and cosmic consciousness is one and the same.
0 point field, can you explain that to me?
The 0 point field is a field explained in quantum mechanics, whereas this 0 point field is a field where there's no energy, there's no movement, but there's just infinite space. But underlying that is quantum movement, energy that's unseen, energy that exists everywhere. So that's the 0 point field, and life or matter emerging from that 0 point field.
Okay, I got it.
Yeah.
So that's the connection between old and the new.
That's the connection between ancient Egyptian sacred science and modern science. So it correlates, but in Egypt, you know, it had more of a spiritual connotation, more of a spiritual development. Whereas in modern science, it's based on material, but at the same time, modern science is also learning that, you know, material reality came from a basis more subtle, more energetic. You know what I'm saying? So they're connected.
Why do you think there was a disconnect between Egyptian and modern science? Why are they not allowing that connection to happen? Have you ever thought about that?
I mean, in terms of academics.
Yes.
In terms of the you know, universities and things of that matter, because they're still dealing with Newtonian physics. You know what I'm saying, with Isaac Newton and Einstein and all of them. But when you delve back into the ancient philosophies or the ancient spiritual systems, then you'll see where it all originated. But you do have physicists that study ancient history, and they know, you know what I'm saying, the documentations regarding the origins of their science, you know what I'm saying, that they piggyback off of. You know, they know, but they don't publicize it.
Right.
Because of its historical implications and the questions that emerge. You know what I mean?
Right. So this mathematics had a lot to play with the building of the pyramids.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right. And then because you look at everything that was done in ancient Egypt, it's astounding that individuals can do that. A lot of individuals talk about aliens and things like that being a part of that. How do you adjust for that mythology?
I mean, maybe they did have contact with otherworldly beings, right?
Okay.
But even if they did have contact with otherworldly beings, don't mean that they didn't have the intellect to build the monuments for themselves.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
I mean, I can have a visitation with a foreigner, but still have my science too.
Yes, sir.
My abilities too. You might bring some in, you know what I'm saying, but they might take some out.
Right.
So why couldn't it have been a shared culture?
True indeed.
You know what I'm saying?
True
So,
indeed.
I mean, we go back a long time. You know what I'm saying? We go back long enough to have been able to learn the science of the cosmos and how to, you know what I mean, build those monuments on the ground in connection to those monuments in space.
Right.
We've been around long enough
Right.
to be able to do that, to figure that out
Yes, sir.
without somebody having to come from the outside in. We don't have to question our intelligence to say somebody else had to come in and help us do that. I'm not questioning my ancestors' intelligence. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. So there's a lot. You talk about the cosmos. You talk about the universe. You talk about in connection with spirituality. Can you break that down for me? Like, to me, religion and astrology is separate disciplines. In this, you speak about them in the same common term. Now, is that true? Is it false? How do you put those two together?
I was like, how can you separate God from God? Right? So to separate, religion from cosmology or astrology, that would be a disappointment to my intellect. Right? Because if we're talking about God, a God that created the cosmos and, humanity observing the cosmos and coming up with the science of astronomy, bearing witness to a creator, how could that be separate?
Yes, sir.
Even creating a political system around that.
Okay.
Right?
Right.
How could that be separate?
It can't be.
It can't be.
So to educate me, what is your, because we know how the biblical go, we know that God created man, and man, from his rib created woman, and then how does your understanding of the beginning start? Explain that to me.
In Kemetic tradition, in Kemetic spirituality, the first man was Osiris.
Physically, spiritually,
energetically, in all forms. That's the dynamics of that philosophy, in all forms. He existed in all forms.
Did he create woman? How does woman come along?
Woman was born with Osiris.
Okay.
In the same womb.
Yes, sir.
As Osiris.
Science.
You know what I'm saying? All of their major gods were born inside of the same womb, came from the same mother, came from the same father. And that's what connects Kemetic cosmology or Kemetic explanation of the creation of the universe. Because all the material that it took came from the same place. So everything is the same. You know what I'm saying? You got the air, you got moisture, you got the earth, you got the sky. All of those things gotta coexist in order for life to exist. All those things are connected. From which Osiris and Isis was born from, the elements, the higher gods and goddesses. From Shu, the god of air, from Tefnut, the god of water, the god of moisture. From Qebhet, the god of the earth. From Nu, the goddess of the sky. Then comes Osiris and Isis, born from that. Born from that cosmic variant that became one, governed by Ra, the sun, right? Their father, the father of all. You know what I'm saying? The light of life that you hear in the Bible, that you hear in the Quran, that you hear in all other spiritual texts that emerged out of Qebhet.
My question has always been, as I study ancient Egyptian religion, spirituality, it always been hard for me to. I could adjust myself to understanding the nobility and the historical value, but when I tried to bring it into modern world, it didn't mesh. It didn't mesh with what was going on now. How do you circumvent society? Because most people will listen to you and be like, yeah, that was in the past. We live in a modern society there. That might have been there, but how do you adjust for that now? How do you walk around now with that?
It depends on your mind. It depends on where your mind is, because whether or not you know it, it's still all around you. The gods and goddesses that they talked about back then is still all around you, whether you disregard it or not. But if you know it, you can walk in such a way where life doesn't seem as threatening. You know what I'm saying?
Explain that life not seeming threatening to me.
Because if you know that you're connected to life, right? And you know that life flows how life flows. And regardless of the things that you've been through in life at this point, you made it to this point. Because you flow in the way that you needed to flow, right? And whatever it is that allowed you to flow through it is still all around you, whether the next man regards it or not. So it's your mind that determines how you get through, how you walk through life, and what you've adjusted to. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
You can, like we talked about last time, that's something that I brought out with me. Something that I developed on the inside for that world. You know what I'm saying? But it still works in this world. Because regardless of the worlds, you know that it's around you.
So you're saying in a penitentiary, the knowledge that you have, the science that you use, you brought out with you. I'm correct saying that.
Yeah, or just what I learned to acknowledge in there about the world, I still acknowledge that. See what I'm saying? I didn't drop that acknowledgement at the door.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I still acknowledge that. I still walk around thinking about that. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so, yeah.
So is there, I know with a lot of spirituality, is there any mantras or prayer that you say, that is there any, a lot of them have these mannerisms or practices they use. Is there anything that you do in Egyptian spirituality that I'm not aware of? Do you pray?
Meditate.
You meditate?
Meditate. Chant. Amun, Ptah. But it's more of a melody chant, you know what I'm saying, that you do by yourself on your own in the dark, and you change the flow and you change the pitch. You know what I'm saying? And it has an effect on your consciousness.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
I never knew that.
Yeah. Sound.
Yeah, sound
frequencies.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you can you can get in a room and chant to yourself, and just the vibrations of your voice can change your consciousness.
That's true indeed.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Just like, attitude.
Yeah.
Coming in the room with an attitude, that negative attitude has vibrations.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it can change
the
effects.
The atmosphere, like, what's going on?
Yes,
it is all about.
Yeah. So now that what are you hoping for? That now that you're out, you have the ability to connect with people. What are you working on currently?
I mean, man, right now I'm working on my book.
Okay.
I'm working on translating my book from manuscript to on my computer, because right now it's just in a manuscript. So that's what I'm putting my time into doing right now, other than work.
What's the book going to be called?
The book is called From Gang Banging to Knowledge of Self.
Yes, sir.
And the subtitle is The Boy Who Became a Man in the Wrong Place at the Right Time.
Can you give us a synopsis of what it's going to be about? I'm sure it's about your life, but what is the redemption period? What's going on with this individual? Is this just a memoir, or is it what is it?
It's an autobiography
of your life.
Yeah. It's telling my life from all the way back to where I can remember myself as a conscious person.
When you say,
you know what I'm saying?
When you say that, remember, you use these words, but they're weighted. When you remember yourself, what are you talking about? Explain that to the viewers.
It's like when I say as far back as I can remember myself.
Yes, sir.
Because you can go so far back in your childhood, you might not remember yourself because you might have been too young. You know what I'm saying? And then at the same time, to remember yourself is to be able to remember events. You know what I'm saying? So all the way back to where I can remember certain events, things that I seen back then but didn't know how to put together. You know what I'm saying? So
when do you think you have the book done?
Man, hopefully by this summer. That's what I'm striving for.
What platforms are you going to put on? Are you going to publish yourself? Are you looking for someone to publish for you? What are you going to do?
I'll probably get a publisher.
Okay.
If I find the right one, if I find the right publisher.
How many pages do you think it's going to be?
I mean, in manuscript it's 443. 443 pages.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you looking to do pictures with it, or is it just going to be just straight words?
It's just text.
Text.
It's just text.
Would you come back to the show to give us the initiate the book through us, have us promote the book for you?
Absolutely.
Would you willing to come back to IGSTS and say, okay, I'm gonna hold you to your promise.
Absolutely. It's official.
Yeah, stand on it. Yes,
it's official.
What's going on in your life
right now?
Yeah,
man, I'm work, home,
okay,
and write.
Okay,
that's what I do. On the weekends, I might get out. You know what I mean? But other than that, man, I'm a homebody.
Right. Is that because being locked up?
No, that's because that's what I like doing. That's what I like doing.
When you were locked up, I'm gonna go back. I just want this one last question because it hit me. When you were locked up, and you thought about the first day you got out, first day you touched ground, how did that day look, and did it differ from what you thought it was gonna be? So I already know the day, those hours, minutes, sitting in that cell, getting ready to walk out for the first time for you was a while. What did you want to do, or what did you think you were going to do, and was it the same that you pictured in your mind?
But see, I walked outside. I walked into a community before I actually got out.
Were you on work release or something?
Yeah.
So you? Okay.
No, I wasn't. No, not on work release. But when you go to minimum, you be on a work crew.
Okay.
That go out into the community.
Yes.
All right. But I can tell you that story.
That's not.
But it's the emotion.
Okay, go ahead. That's what I was looking for.
You know what I'm saying? Because that was my first time ever stepping outside a wall or a fence and going out somewhere, right? And so I was working on the house building crew, and we went out to this house, and it was the first house I ever been in, man, in 27 years. You know what I'm saying? So just
how did it feel?
Just walking in that house, man, was like, I don't know, it can't even be explained, man. It was just.
Were you scared? Was you anxious?
No, I wasn't scared.
Okay.
I wasn't scared. Like, I was conscious of the moment, man. Like, this is something totally different, but this is where I'm supposed to be at this point.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
But I was also thinking in my mind, you know, all these dudes around me, like, they don't even understand. This is my first time inside a house in 27 years. This is my first time walking up into a house or walking out the back of a house inside a garage in 27 years. And these dudes don't even know that. As I'm walking through the house, you know what I'm saying, going upstairs, going to the basement, just, you know what I'm saying, just examining everything. You know what I'm saying?
And things have changed too.
Yeah.
Did you when you because I noticed that as I would go and they take me from joint to joint, just looking out just seeing that new green line put up. You know what I'm saying? Just people, neighborhoods, so much change. I only did 8.5, 9 years. You did way more than that.
So many different buildings.
Yeah, places, people. Yes. What else you got? You said you wanted to. We're gonna come back and have you bring us to the gods and goddesses.
Yeah, true indeed.
And have you bring that knowledge to us. We're gonna take a quick break. We're gonna be right back.
Let's build on that.
Yes, sir.
I got something to say.
Welcome back. This is IGSTS, SF, Moya Prison Lawyer with my man Jafar. Second time, y'all. He's about to read a passage to us. What book is this?
This is a book on ancient Egyptian proverbs by Dr. Moetta Ashby.
Okay, hit us with it.
So I'm just gonna, read a little part on a devotee of a set.
Okay.
Like I was talking about last time. The original name of Isis is a set. That's her indigenous African name. So we just be promoting her indigenous names instead of their foreign names.
We have to.
You know what I mean?
Right. I mean, because like we said before, the academics sort of pushed that on us, and that we call Africa, Africa because that's what they told us it was for, and that's not even the name.
Right.
Like we call Egypt instead of Kemet.
Right.
But go ahead, hit us with it.
All right. So it says, salvation is the freeing of the soul from its bodily fetters, becoming a god through knowledge and wisdom, controlling the forces of the cosmos instead of being a slave to them, subduing the lower nature, and through awakening the higher self, ending the cycle of rebirth, and dwelling with the netters who direct and control the great plan. Men and women are to become godlike through a life of virtue and the cultivation of the spirit through scientific knowledge, practice, and bodily discipline. So that right there, that's high science. So if you're looking at a culture of people that can explain to you how to save your soul, right?
Yes, sir.
Not only how to save your soul, but how your soul behaves in a different dimension, or how you can escape coming back to this dimension, how you can transcend being a slave to the cosmic forces of this dimension and to ascend all the way up to a higher being, whereas you're determining creation.
Yeah, that's.
So a culture of people that can offer you that knowledge, that can offer you that promise of immortality. They had to have spoken to somebody that was immortal. or that had already lived in this dimension to communicate what it's like in other dimensions.
True indeed.
Or to have reached other dimensions through their spiritual science.
True indeed.
A civilization that can get you there, or a culture of people that can get you there, that's a higher culture people. And when you see this same philosophy in every other culture, is it a coincidence?
No coincidence.
Did those other cultures develop that philosophy on their own?
Mm-mm.
Or is there a common origin for that philosophy?
Right.
Expressed in different languages. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And different and symbols, you know what I'm saying? Like, instead of, you know what I'm saying, in Egypt, you got the apis bull. You know what I'm saying? In the Americas, you know, you got the bison.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Equivalent energies.
Yes.
You know what I mean? You know, just the symbol of strength, the symbol of respect that those animals command.
Yeah, definitely.
You know what I mean?
And I like when you read the passage, like I said initially, I understood. When we talk about cosmos, we talk about universes. I always understood myself as being a universe, and those things around me being planets, me being the sun, moon. Moons being maybe the children, Earth being maybe the wife.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And breaking it down, because as much as you can read into a passage and esoterically understand it, we can actually make it simple, like the brother Malcolm always say, make it simple a baby can understand, and always say that I'm a universe. You know what I'm saying? And I maybe I took some of that from the 5%ers to understanding of knowledge and self. But I always
get it where it's at.
I get it, but I was able to take that knowledge and apply it to myself, and also understood that the colliding of universes. You understand? The building of universes. You know what I'm saying? I had that command. I had that control. You know what I'm saying? And understanding that made me look at things differently. You know, so you take a passage like that, like I take a passage out of Quran or take a passage out of anything that I find to be truth. And one thing I did do when I actually came out of prison, I started reading this one passage out of the Quran, and I read it on a regular basis. I read it before I go to bed. I read it before I leave. I read it because it makes me understand that everything is going to happen. Is going to happen, and I don't have any control over what's going on. I must accept it because it is what's going to happen. Right. You know what I'm saying? Right. And it's the best outcome for those situations. Right. So with that being understood, it's easier to say those things because you met many people get down on their knees and they pray to try to change these outcomes that are specifically for a reason. We might not understand them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Right. You know, so that's why I had that feeling like, so when you read a passage like that, you can read that passage for 100 years and still get meaning out of that passage and be able to understand and build on it, be able to preach on it. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, the cosmos, because we initially started off talking about the cosmos and the relationship, relating that to spirituality and understanding it. Mm-hmm. They're not disconnects. They're actually the same thing.
When I used to always, I would meditate on cosmic consciousness, right? Because in a lot of the literature, you know, you hear cosmic consciousness.
And what is that? Define that.
So I would always meditate on that, like, not just, you got earthly consciousness, mm-hmm. right? Where you're conscious about us being connected on the earth. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? We're all human beings, so we're all connected. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? But then you have other levels of consciousness. Like you can have, galactic consciousness where in other galaxies there's life.
Yes, definitely.
You know what I'm saying? And you accept that that's a part of your reality.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? That's a part of your galactic consciousness because you're thinking outside of our whole, galaxy, right?
Yes, sir.
But then it's like cosmic consciousness is just like everything.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? If there's what they say 200 billion stars in our galaxy, we're connected.
Yes.
If there's 200 billion galaxies in our universe, we're connected.
Yes.
You know
Definitely.
Definitely. Ron. What do you got to say about SAF Mo saying white MFers?
I don't give a fuck what anybody says because it's America and you should be able to do and say what the fuck you want. God bless America.
Like the recording. So you was talking about cosmic,
cosmic
consciousness, and galactic consciousness, and then when you talk about the consciousness of individuals, are we talking about everything? Are we talking about insects and animals, or what are we talking about?
Everything at a level of consciousness, everything at a level of energetic experience. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Some people might say consciousness. Some people might say energy. It depends on what your science is. Like you won't hear scientists or physicists too much talking about consciousness, but they'll talk about energy.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But energy is movement. Consciousness is movement.
Right. Definitely.
You know what I mean? Energy appears to know where it's going.
Yes, definitely.
Right?
True.
Even in quantum mechanics, subatomic particles respond to being observed.
Right.
So they have some type of consciousness.
Right. Right.
You know
Definitely.
what I mean?
And I mean that's all. To me, it just seems like when it comes down to them disconnecting these sciences, it seemed to be more so, like you say, so we don't go back to ancient Egyptian thought. We assume that it was created by them, opposed to being created by us.
Right.
That was the whole reasoning behind your Einsteins and your Sir Isaac Newtons, and disconnecting that fundamental understanding from where it actually came from, because it wasn't created in a bubble. Even Aristotle and Plato, all those individuals that we talked about as being great, they received that knowledge from Egypt.
Right, yeah, true.
Yeah, true. So it's not something that we need to it's not a conspiracy. We know exactly where these things occur, and we're trying to what I'm trying to do is just really connect us back to that thought. You know what I'm saying? Because it's relevant. Because I started off saying that, what would you say to an individual who come up to you and say Egyptology is not relevant in the society? And I think it's more so relevant now than it was back then, because it's a grounding point. Right. You know what I'm saying? Makes you understand. I think by understanding that Great Pyramid, go ahead, bro.
And it just changes your mood.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like Kemetic spirituality changes your mood.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? And I think that if we can change our mood towards each other by virtue of having that knowledge, because that's what it does. I've seen it. I've experienced it for myself. You know what I'm saying? If like I listen to a lot of podcasts.
Yes, sir.
Right, by Black people.
Okay.
And it's a lot of Black viewers that are on there. You know what I'm saying, as an audience, who are becoming conscious,
okay,
who are asking questions,
yes,
who are challenging traditions, religions, government.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
True.
Because they're studying Kemetic.
Yes.
And that's what it does. It makes you question everything.
Definitely.
Because we was taught the opposite of everything that Kemet teaches us.
Yes, sir. You gonna come back with the book? No. You're talking about the book's gonna be this summer. No. I want to definitely be the first person to have it. We're gonna do the movie to it too.
It's official.
It's official. This is the second time my man been on the show. Our popular demand. Y'all wanted him back. Y'all was all in the comment box when he came through. He came through and gave it to us again. I'm gonna have him back again, definitely. You know what I'm saying? This brother's always been the same since I known him in the joint, he came out the same brother, and been building since he came out. He ain't changed one bit. The same knowledge that he's bringing, the same facts that he's got, same studies. He's still studying, and he's a light. You know what I'm saying? And I appreciate the fact that he stopped by again for us, giving us his time, and we're gonna make the platform available for him whenever you want to stop through.
That's what's up.
It's all good. Hotel. Yes, sir.
But hold up, I got something to say.
Thank you.